Have you ever seen a sign that says, "Do not enter," and immediately wanted to know what's behind it? It's human nature, right? We're wired to be curious, to explore the unknown, and to push the boundaries of what's possible. But what if that sign isn't just a suggestion? What if crossing that line could be the last thing you ever do? The world is filled with places that are beautiful, mysterious, and incredibly alluring, but they're also locked away for a very good reason. And it's not always just a legal thing, like getting a fine. We're talking about places so dangerous, so deadly, that stepping foot in them is a literal death sentence. These aren't your typical tourist traps or local secrets. These are locations where nature, history, or even governments have put up a massive, invisible wall that says, "Stay out." From islands swarming with thousands of deadly snakes to military bases that will use deadly force to protect their secrets, the planet has some seriously terrifying spots. We're talking about places where one wrong step, one bad decision, could mean you never come back. I spent weeks researching the most insane off-limits locations, and what I found is absolutely mind-blowing. These are places that will haunt your nightmares. So today, we're counting down the most lethal, most terrifying, and most forbidden places on the entire planet. I'll be covering these and more only on today's top 10 list. Let's get into it. Kicking off our list at number 10 is a place that sounds like a dream but is a total nightmare: the Hiku Stairs in Hawaii, also known as the Stairway to Heaven. Just look at this thing. It's a series of 3,922 steps climbing straight up a mountain ridge on the island of Oahu. The views are absolutely insane, and for years, hikers and influencers risked everything to get that perfect Instagram shot. It was originally built by the US Navy during World War II to access a radio station at the top, but today, it's a death trap. The problem is, these stairs haven't been maintained in decades. They are literally falling apart. The metal is rusted, steps are missing, and the handrails are completely unreliable. One slip, one gust of wind, and you're plunging thousands of feet down a sheer cliff face. It's so dangerous that it's been officially closed to the public since 1987. Anyone caught trying to hike it faces a $1,000 fine and a court appearance. The local government has even started the process of removing the stairs entirely because they're tired of people getting hurt, or worse. But the fines and the danger don't stop everyone. People sneak past security guards, sometimes in the middle of the night, just for the thrill. It's this forbidden allure that makes it so tempting. You see the pictures online and think, "I could do that." But the reality is brutally different. The weather on these ridges can change in an instant, going from sunny to a torrential downpour with zero visibility, making the already slippery, broken steps even more treacherous. It's a recipe for absolute disaster, and tragically, disaster has struck. The trail is infamous for injuries, but it's the stories of those who never came back that are truly chilling. One of the most heartbreaking cases is that of Dalen Mokpua. In 2015, this 18-year-old hiker went missing on the trail. He sent his family photos from the stairs, but then he just vanished. Search parties scoured the mountains for days, but no trace of him was ever found. He disappeared without a trace on the Stairway to Heaven. His story is a horrifying reminder that this isn't just an illegal hike, it's a gamble with your life. The beauty of the view just isn't worth the risk of becoming another ghost on the mountain. For that reason, the Hiku Stairs is a place you should never, ever visit, and it's a solid start to our list of the world's most dangerous forbidden places. It's a stairway you can only go down from permanently. Coming in at number 9 is a place straight out of an Indiana Jones movie if Indiana Jones was absolutely terrified of snakes. This is Ilha de Queimada Grande, better known as Snake Island. Located about 90 miles off the coast of Brazil, this small island looks like a tropical paradise from a distance, but I promise you, it is the exact opposite. This place is home to one of the highest concentrations of venomous snakes anywhere in the world. We're not talking about a few garden snakes. We're talking about an island crawling with them. The main resident here is the golden lancehead viper, one of the most venomous snakes on the entire planet. Their venom is so potent, it can melt human flesh and kill a person in under an hour. And they aren't rare on this island. Scientists estimate there is, on average, 1 to 5 of these deadly snakes for every single square meter. Think about that. Every step you take, you are within striking distance of multiple snakes that can kill you before help could ever arrive. Because of this insane level of danger, the Brazilian government has made it completely illegal for anyone to visit the island. The only people ever allowed to set foot there are a handful of carefully selected scientists and the Brazilian Navy, who make a yearly stop to maintain the lighthouse, and even they have to bring a doctor with them on every trip just in case. The risk is just that high. There is no scenario where a regular person could survive on this island for long. The legends surrounding Snake Island are terrifying. One story tells of a fisherman who unknowingly landed on the island to pick bananas. He was found days later in his boat, dead, lying in a pool of his own blood, covered in snake bites. Another local legend claims the last lighthouse keeper and his entire family were killed after a group of snakes slithered into their home through the windows. These stories serve as a grim warning to anyone who might think of breaking the law and visiting. This isn't a challenge, it's a biological fortress. The snakes evolved here in isolation, and without ground-level predators, their population exploded. Their venom also became extra potent to quickly kill the migratory birds they prey on. It's a perfect storm of deadly evolution, and it makes Snake Island one of the most horrifyingly forbidden places on Earth. You couldn't pay me $1 million to go here. Okay, maybe for $1 million, but I'd need $1 billion worth of anti-venom. At number 8, we're heading to the middle of the Nevada desert, to a place that technically doesn't exist according to the US government, at least for a long time. This is the legendary Area 51. For decades, this highly classified United States Air Force facility has been the epicenter of UFO conspiracies, alien autopsy videos, and countless myths. But the one thing that isn't a myth is the extreme, deadly security surrounding it. This place is locked down tighter than any prison on Earth. Forget a simple, trespassing fine. The perimeter of Area 51 is marked with signs that explicitly warn that deadly force is authorized, and they are not bluffing. The base is patrolled by heavily armed guards, known colloquially as camos, who will detain you in a heartbeat. The entire area is monitored by motion sensors, long-range cameras, and Black Hawk helicopters. If you get anywhere near the border, they will know about it instantly, and they will be on you before you can even think about running. The mystery is what makes Area 51 so unbelievably tempting. What are they hiding that requires this level of security? For years, the government denied its existence, which only fueled speculation. The official story is that it's a testing ground for experimental aircraft and advanced weapon systems, like the U-2 spy plane and the F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter. But conspiracy theorists believe it's home to crashed alien spacecraft and extraterrestrial technology recovered from the Roswell incident. The secrecy is a magnet for curiosity. In 2019, this curiosity boiled over into a viral internet event called Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us. Millions of people pledged online to raid the base to see them aliens. While it was mostly a joke, a few thousand people actually showed up in the nearby desert towns. The military issued stark warnings, and thankfully, no one actually tried to breach the gates. It showed just how powerful the allure of this forbidden zone is, but also how serious the consequences would be. You can get close, but not too close. There are a few spots like Tikaboo Peak miles away, where you can legally get a glimpse of the base with a powerful telescope. But that's it. Any attempt to cross the line is met with immediate and overwhelming force. Area 51 remains one of the most heavily guarded and secretive places on the planet, a true forbidden zone where the only thing you're guaranteed to find is trouble. The truth might be out there, but you're not going to find it here. Our number 7 spot takes us back to Nevada, but this time we're trading desert secrets for a deep, dark mystery hidden in the ground. This is Devil's Hole, a deceptively small geothermal pool located in a detached part of Death Valley National Park. From the surface, it looks like nothing more than a tiny, unimpressive puddle in a rock fissure, about 70 feet long and 10 feet wide. But this small opening is the entrance to a watery underworld that has claimed lives and baffled scientists for decades. This isn't your average swimming hole. Devil's Hole is an incredibly complex and dangerous underwater cave system. The water temperature is a constant 93 degrees Fahrenheit, and the depths are staggering. No one has ever reached the bottom. Divers have mapped the system to over 400 feet deep, but sonar readings suggest it could go on for another 500 feet or more. It's a labyrinth of tight passages, sudden drops, and powerful, unpredictable currents. It is, honestly, the definition of a deadly trap. The most chilling story associated with Devil's Hole is that of two young divers who vanished there in 1965. Paul Giancontieri and David Rose, along with two other friends, illegally entered the site to explore the underwater caves. The two men went down, but they never came back up. Extensive search and rescue missions were launched, but their bodies were never, ever found. They were swallowed by the cave, lost forever in its dark, watery maze. It's believed they were sucked into a narrow, high-flow passage deep within the system. Because of this tragedy, and the extreme danger, access to Devil's Hole is now heavily restricted. The entire site is surrounded by a tall fence topped with barbed wire, and security cameras monitor it 24/7. Trespassing is a federal offense. The restrictions aren't just to protect people, they're also to protect what lives inside. The hole is the only natural habitat in the entire world for the critically endangered Devil's Hole pupfish, a tiny iridescent blue fish that has lived in these waters for thousands of years. So you have this combination of a fragile, unique ecosystem and an incredibly dangerous environment for humans. The mystery of its true depth, combined with the haunting story of the lost divers, gives Devil's Hole a terrifying reputation. It's a place that proves that the most dangerous things can come in the smallest packages. It's a tiny entrance to an endless, watery coffin and a place you should stay far, far away from. For number 6, we're traveling to the coast of Egypt, to a place that is considered the most dangerous dive site in the world. This is the Blue Hole of Dahab. From above, it looks absolutely stunning, a deep dark blue circle in the turquoise waters of the Red Sea. It's a submarine sinkhole, about 400 feet deep, and it has become a deadly magnet for scuba divers from all over the globe. It's known as the Divers' Cemetery, and for a very good reason. It has claimed the lives of an estimated 200 divers. The main killer here is a feature known as the Arch, a tunnel that connects the Blue Hole to the open sea at a depth of about 170 feet. This is far below the recreational diving limit of 130 feet. To even attempt this dive, you need specialized training and equipment, but the beautiful glowing blue light from the other side of the arch tempts many inexperienced divers to go deeper than they should. It looks deceptively close, but the journey through the 85-foot-long tunnel is treacherous. The biggest danger at this depth is nitrogen narcosis. The increased pressure causes the nitrogen in a diver's breathing gas to have an intoxicating effect, similar to being drunk. It impairs judgment, causes confusion, and can lead to fatal mistakes. Divers can become disoriented, miss the entrance to the arch, or simply swim deeper into the abyss until they run out of air. The currents can also be unpredictable, making the swim through the arch even more difficult. The shoreline near the Blue Hole is a grim, sobering memorial. Plaques are attached to the rocks, each one bearing the name of a diver who lost their life in the hole. It's a wall of names, a constant reminder of the price of underestimating this beautiful but lethal place. It's a pilgrimage site for some, but for the families of the victims, it's a gravestone. Each plaque tells a story of a journey that ended in tragedy, a life swallowed by the beautiful blue. Despite the known dangers and the countless deaths, divers still flock to the Blue Hole. The allure of conquering the world's most dangerous dive site is just too strong for some. But the line between adventure and suicide is incredibly thin here. The Blue Hole is a perfect example of a natural wonder, whose beauty masks an incredible danger. It's a siren's call for thrill seekers, luring them down into a deep, dark, and permanent silence. We're at the halfway point, and for number 5, we have an island that is forbidden not by nature, but by its inhabitants. This is North Sentinel Island, part of the Andaman Islands in the Bay of Bengal. This island is home to the Sentinelese people, one of the last uncontacted tribes in the world. They have lived in complete isolation for an estimated 60,000 years, and they violently reject any and all contact from the outside world. Anyone who gets too close is met with a volley of arrows. The Sentinelese are protected by Indian law. It is strictly illegal to go within 3 miles of the island. This law is not just to protect outsiders from the Sentinelese, but more importantly, to protect the Sentinelese from the outside world. Because they have been isolated for so long, they have no immunity to common diseases like the flu or the measles. A single virus could wipe out their entire population. They are one of the most vulnerable groups of people on the planet. Their hostility is not an exaggeration. There are numerous documented cases of them attacking anyone who approaches. In 2006, 2 fishermen whose boat drifted ashore were killed by the tribe. When a helicopter was sent to recover their bodies, it was driven off by a barrage of arrows. They want absolutely nothing to do with us, and they have made that crystal clear for centuries. They are defending their home in the only way they know how. The most recent and famous incident occurred in 2018, when a young American missionary named John Allen Chow illegally traveled to the island. He paid fishermen to take him close, and then he paddled the rest of the way in a kayak, intending to convert the tribe to Christianity. He was immediately met with hostility, but kept trying to make contact. On his final attempt, he was killed by the tribe. His body was never recovered. North Sentinel Island is a true forbidden zone. It's a living time capsule, a place where a Stone Age culture persists in the 21st century. The mystery of who these people are, what their language is like, and what they believe is incredibly fascinating. But it's a mystery that we have to respect from a distance. Attempting to visit is not only illegal and suicidal, but it's also a threat to the very existence of one of humanity's last remaining isolated cultures. This is one secret the world must agree to leave alone. Coming in at number 4 is a place that was once a thriving modern city, but is now a toxic, abandoned wasteland. This is the Chernobyl exclusion zone in Ukraine. In 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant suffered a catastrophic failure in its number 4 reactor, causing the worst nuclear disaster in history. The explosion released a massive cloud of radioactive material that spread across Europe, but the area immediately surrounding the plant was hit the hardest. To contain the fallout, the Soviet Union created a 1,000 square mile exclusion zone. The entire population of the city of Pripyat, home to 50,000 people, was evacuated in a matter of hours. They were told it was temporary, to only pack a few essentials. They never returned. Today Pripyat is a ghost city, frozen in time. School books lie open on desks, dolls are scattered in empty kindergartens, and the iconic Ferris wheel stands as a silent monument to the disaster. It is unbelievably eerie. The danger here is completely invisible radiation. While the background levels in many parts of the zone have dropped enough to allow for short, guided tours, there are still hotspots with dangerously high levels of radiation. Stepping on a patch of radioactive moss or disturbing contaminated soil could expose you to a serious dose. The real danger lies in the radioactive particles that can be inhaled or ingested. This is why visitors are forbidden from touching anything, sitting on the ground, or eating outdoors. Despite the rules, a subculture of illegal explorers known as stalkers sneak into the zone for days, or even weeks at a time. They navigate the crumbling buildings and contaminated forests, drawn by the thrill and the post-apocalyptic atmosphere. But it's an incredibly risky game. They risk not only arrest, but also long-term health effects from radiation exposure, like cancer. The crumbling Soviet-era buildings also pose a serious physical threat of collapse. The Chernobyl exclusion zone is a haunting memorial to the devastating power of nuclear energy. It's a world without humans, where nature is slowly reclaiming the concrete jungle, but it's a poisoned paradise. The invisible threat of radiation makes it one of the most unique and dangerous forbidden places on Earth. It's a glimpse into a world after us, and a stark warning that some mistakes can never be undone. Our number 3 spot is an island so terrifying, it's considered one of the most haunted places in the world. Welcome to Poveglia Island, located in the Venetian Lagoon in Italy. This small, unassuming island has a history so dark and twisted, the Italian government has forbidden anyone from visiting. From a distance, it looks overgrown and peaceful, but its soil is soaked in centuries of death and suffering. You can't just buy a ticket and go here, it is completely off-limits. Poveglia's nightmare began during the Roman era, when it was used to isolate plague victims, leaving them to die far away from the general population. But its darkest chapter came during the bubonic plague. Tens of thousands of infected, dying, and even just symptomatic people were forcibly shipped to Poveglia and left there. It became a massive quarantine colony and a literal dumping ground for bodies. It's estimated that over 160,000 people died on this tiny island, and their bodies were burned in giant pits. Locals claim that the soil of Poveglia is more than 50% human ash. Fishermen refuse to fish in the waters nearby, afraid of dragging up human bones. The island is said to be cursed, haunted by the thousands of souls who perished there in agony. Visitors who have managed to sneak onto the island report hearing screams, seeing shadowy figures, and feeling an overwhelming sense of dread and despair. It's a place saturated with pure historical horror, but the horror doesn't stop with the plague. In the 1920s, a mental hospital was built on the island. The legend says the head doctor was a sadistic man who tortured and performed horrific experiments on his patients, including crude lobotomies. The story goes that he was eventually driven mad by the ghosts of the island and threw himself from the hospital's bell tower. The bell tower still stands today, a creepy landmark on a cursed island. The island has been abandoned since the hospital closed in 1968. The buildings are crumbling and dangerously unstable, adding a physical danger to the paranormal terror. The Italian government has tried to sell the island, but no one wants it. Poveglia remains deserted, a monument to plague, madness, and death. It's a place so evil, so haunted, that it has been permanently quarantined from the living world. For the number 2 most dangerous forbidden place, we're looking at a disaster that is much more recent. This is the Fukushima exclusion zone in Japan. In March 2011, a massive earthquake and subsequent tsunami triggered a triple meltdown at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. It was the most severe nuclear accident since Chernobyl, and it created a brand new, highly radioactive forbidden zone in the heart of Japan. Immediately following the disaster, the Japanese government established an exclusion zone, evacuating over 150,000 residents from their homes. Just like in Pripyat, they left everything behind, expecting to return. But years later, many of the towns within the zone remain completely empty, frozen in the exact moment the evacuation orders were given. Cars sit in driveways, bicycles are propped against fences, and storefronts are exactly as they were on that fateful day. It's a surreal and heartbreaking landscape. The danger here is, once again, the invisible enemy radiation. The levels of contamination vary wildly across the zone. While some areas have been decontaminated and residents have been allowed to return, large swaths of land, particularly the towns closest to the plant, are still considered too dangerous for human habitation. Entering these areas is strictly forbidden without special permission and protective gear. The long-term health risks from exposure are still a major concern. What makes Fukushima so uniquely terrifying is how fresh it is. This isn't a historical event from the Soviet era. It's a 21st century disaster in one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world. Urban explorers and photographers who have snuck into the zone have captured images that are both beautiful and deeply unsettling. A traffic light changing for no one. A convenience store full of perfectly preserved but expired products, wild animals roaming freely through empty streets. The Fukushima exclusion zone is a stark and modern reminder of the fragility of our world. It shows how quickly and completely a normal life can be erased. The ongoing cleanup effort is one of the most complex and expensive engineering projects in history and will take decades to complete. Until then, these ghost towns will remain silent, radioactive monuments to a day that changed Japan forever, and a place that is dangerously and rightfully forbidden. And the number 1 most dangerous, most lethal forbidden place on the planet is not an island or a secret base, but the top of the world itself. This is the death zone on Mount Everest, located above 8,000 meters, or 26,000 feet. This is the final push to the summit of the world's highest peak. At this altitude, the air is so thin that there isn't enough oxygen to sustain human life. Your body is literally dying with every breath you take. It's not technically forbidden by a government, but it's a place forbidden by nature and human biology. In the death zone, the pressure is so low that even with supplemental oxygen, your body is in a state of constant decay. You are at extreme risk of high-altitude cerebral edema and high-altitude pulmonary edema, where your brain and lungs fill with fluid. Frostbite can claim fingers and toes in minutes. Judgment becomes severely impaired, and exhaustion can lead to fatal mistakes, like unclipping from a safety line or simply sitting down to rest and never getting up again. This is why the death zone is often called the world's highest open-air graveyard. The route to the summit is littered with the frozen bodies of climbers who never made it back down. There are over 200 bodies still on the mountain, perfectly preserved by the cold. Some have become grim landmarks like Green Boots, a climber who perished near a cave, and who for years served as a macabre trail marker for others on their way to the top. It is unbelievably horrifying. Recovering bodies from this altitude is incredibly dangerous and expensive, often risking the lives of the Sherpas who have to carry them down. So, most are left where they fell, becoming a permanent part of the mountain. Every climber who attempts the summit knows they will be walking past the dead. It's a constant, in-your-face reminder of the stakes. One wrong move, one moment of weakness, and you could become the next landmark. Mount Everest represents the ultimate human challenge, the drive to conquer the impossible. But the death zone is the ultimate price for that ambition. It's a place where humans simply do not belong, where the line between life and death is thinner than anywhere else on Earth. For its extreme, unavoidable danger, and the sheer number of lives it has claimed, the death zone on Mount Everest is, without a doubt, the most dangerous and lethal forbidden place on the planet. And that's our list of the 10 most dangerous and forbidden places on Earth. From radioactive ghost towns to islands that will literally kill you on sight, these locations are a powerful reminder that our planet has corners that are not meant for us. The human spirit is built on curiosity, and the desire to see what's on the other side of the fence is one of the things that drives us forward, that makes us explore and discover. It's a natural, powerful instinct, but there's a difference between being an adventurer and being reckless. These places aren't just off limits because of some boring rule. They're forbidden because they are deadly. The warning signs are written in history, in science, and in the tragic stories of those who ignored them. They are nature's and history's way of telling us to stay back, to respect the immense power and danger that exists in the world. It's a lesson in humility, reminding us that we don't, and can't, conquer everything. Exploring the world is one of the greatest things you can do, but some places are better left to our imagination. Let's explore them through documentaries, through stories, and through videos like this one. It's safer for us, and in some cases, like with North Sentinel Island, it's safer for them. So, as tempting as it might be to explore the unknown, remember, some mysteries are best left unsolved. Stay safe, and let's keep our adventures virtual.